and welcome back. If you are new here, then hello, my name is Zoe and this is my YouTube channel. Today we are channeling our inner 90s supermodel. We're going to do a classic 90s makeup. I absolutely love 90s makeup, especially for autumn as well. It's definitely autumn vibes. So we're going to just get straight into it today. I'm going to start with my skincare. I have done skincare this morning, but I feel like I just need a little bit of extra hydration because it is winter and my skin gets extra dry in the winter. So I'm using the La Roche-Posay Toleriane Ultra Cream. I'm just going to pop this everywhere. I'm going to link all the products that I've used today as well down in the description. So if you want to know anything, if you've missed anything, then everything that I've used will be down there. Okay, so while that just soaks in, I'm going to start with my brows. I'm going to do my brows in today's video because I feel like 90s makeup is, especially brows, is a little bit more defined. So I'm not going to do soap brows today like I usually do. I usually like a really fluffy brow, but I feel that's not really 90s vibes. It's more kind of natural or a bit more defined. So I'm just going to just fill in the underneath. I feel like they're kind of penciled in, but they're not too like carved out or anything like that. So I'm going to fill them in and not really carve them out today. So I've got to try and make them as neat as possible. So just filling in any sparse areas. I don't really want like a visual line underneath. So I'm just going to keep going through with the spoolie end and just brush underneath just so it brushes that line away so it doesn't look like I've completely drawn them on. So your 90s supermodel skin is a little bit more on the matte side, so I'm going to use the Fenty, this is the Pro Filter foundation today. I'm going to use the shade 210. I'm going to give it a good shake first. Might just be maybe a little bit too dark for me at the minute, but I can just blend it just down my neck. And I'm going to build it up so it's quite a nice like full coverage because I feel like 90s is still quite flawless. It's less kind of bronzy, I think, more kind of like contoured and like structured rather than like quite warm and bronzy. So I want to build this up so it's quite a nice coverage. I'm going to do a bit of contouring, nothing too heavy. Okay, I'm happy with that coverage for now. I'm going to move on to concealer. So I'm going to use a couple. I'm going to first use the Tarte Shape Tape in light medium sand just to conceal like my dark areas, and I'm going to pop a little bit of this on the lid as well. And then I've got shade light sand for all my highlights and that. So let's start with this one. This one's just a little bit more like yellowy, and I find that it just covers up like my dark areas underneath. And then I'm going to pop a little bit of this on my eyes as a bit of a primer as well. So I'm just using a little brush first just to blend this on the eyelids. I don't want too much, just like enough to create a canvas because I'm not going to carve out my brow or anything. I'm going to concentrate most of it on my actual eyelid and then this inner corner, and then any excess I'm just going to buff up towards my brow. And then just patting in this underneath the eye, just keeping it mainly in this area. My eyes are a little bit red today because I think I've got this eyeliner and I think I'm allergic to it because every time I use it, it makes my eyes go so red for like the next few days. But it's like one of my favourite eyeliners. But maybe I should really stop using it. So before we carry on with the face, I'm going to do the eyes next. So for the palette I'm going to use is just it is broken as usual like all my palettes. It's the Nip and Fab contour palette actually in the shade number 3, which is dark. I absolutely love these for the eyes. I want to do like a classic 90s eye using warm tones, and we're going to keep it all matte. So I'm just going to use this contour palette. And I'm going to start today with this one in the middle on the bottom row. This is just going to be my transition shade. So I want to try and make the eyes look more wider here. So I'm going to bring my transition shade up just like on my socket bone. and then also bring it round to this outer corner as well. So with the 90s makeup, it's not sort of too winged out, I don't think. I'm going to keep it, because usually I like to really blend mine out, but I'm not going to do that today. I just want like a classic, like darker on the outer corner, lighter on the inner corner kind of eye. So I'm going to finish it kind of where the tail of my brow is, kind of like in a soft kind of V shape. This is pretty much your classic soft glam makeup because the 90s makeup has definitely come back into fashion. It has been for quite a while now, I think. And it's just my kind of makeup. And then we're going to darken up this outer corner a little bit. So I'm going to just go in with the darkest shade. And I'm using a smaller brush this time. And this, I'm just concentrating kind of on the outer V. Just in this outer crease area. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that for now. I'm just going to do my eyeliner next. So I'm using a brown pencil. This is MAC's Costa Riche. And I'm going to do like a nice smoky liner. So I'm going to apply this all along my lash line. And you don't have to be really neat with it. Try and get it right into the lash line as well. And then I'm going to use a little smudger brush to start smudging this out. And I'm going to smudge it out so it's thicker in this outer corner, so blending up a little bit further. And then I'm not blending it up as high as we come into the inner corner. And you can just keep wiping off your brush in between just so it doesn't get too loaded with the liner, because it makes it a little bit more difficult to blend it out then. And then I'm going to take a black liner and I'm going to concentrate this more on the very sort of outer half right into the lash line just to deepen it a little bit more. This one is from Rodial. It's a smoky eye pen, even though it's pencil, and I think it's just in the shade black. Again, a little bit thicker on the very outer corner, and again, just gonna press this in. Try not to blend it up as far as that brown one. Then for this inner section here where there's no eyeshadow yet, I'm just going to go in with this one just to set it in place and just to brighten up this inner corner, but without using anything shimmery, so it's all matte. Okay, next I'm going to line my top waterline, so I'm going to go back in with that black pencil and just line this upper waterline. Okay, so I'm just going to apply some lashes. Now for lashes in the 90s, I don't think were a big thing. So I'm just going to use like some natural ones. So I've just picked up some, I don't know what style these are, but they're more like flared in the outer corner. They're just a little bit more natural because I don't think big lashes were a thing in the 90s. So I'm just going to quickly apply them and then I will be straight back. Okay, so lashes are on. Let's move on to concealer again. So I'm using Light Sand now, and this is to highlight a little bit more. So let's pop some of this under here. And then just a little bit to sharpen up the outer corner, but nothing kind of too winged out. And then a little bit on the chin. And then I'm just going to pop a little bit under here as well, just to sharpen up a little bit, and then we can start blending this in. So I always start with the chin first for some reason, I don't know why, but this will also just brighten up my base a little bit because it was a little bit dark for me. And the under eyes. Okay, let's move on to contour. I'm going to use this concealer stick from Urban Decay. This is a 24/7 concealer pencil in M16. And I'm just going to do a little squiggle in all my usual areas. And then I am going to do a little bit of contouring on the lips today as well because the 90s lip is quite a strong lip and I like to overline mine anyway, so I'll just help myself out with a little bit of contour first. So let's blend some of this out. So I'm just using a Real Techniques brush just to buff this out. I love this concealer stick because it is really creamy and it's so easy to blend. It's a little bit more cooler in tone than I usually like to use, but for this I feel like the face and the contour is a little bit more cool tone for 90s. There's not too much like bronzy tones on the skin, so that's why I've chosen this one. I'm not really going to be using much bronzer really. I'm not going to bring this onto my cheeks as much as I usually do either. Usually I like to bronze up with like whatever contour that I use as well, but I don't feel like they did that in the 90s, so I'm just going to keep it kind of on like the contour line and not blend it up onto my cheeks that much. And then just blend under here. Okay, so let's set this in place. I'm going to use my Laura Mercier powder because this is my ultimate fave. So I'm going to set first, just to take the tackiness away, and then I might just do a little bit of baking just to really brighten the under eye. This is more of a matte look anyway. I don't usually do this, but I am going to just apply a little bit of this powder just to matten off the rest of the skin. So I'm just using a fluffy brush, just a little bit, just to like take the shine away. And then I'm just going to bake my under eye. So for bronzer, I don't want to make this like really bronze, so I'm just going to apply a tiny bit of the Beach Bronzer by Urban Decay because this isn't too kind of in your face really, and it's matte as well. So I'm just going to apply a tiny bit of this like over my contour and then onto my cheeks. Maybe just a spot on my nose, not much at all, because I don't feel like the pictures that I was looking at, they don't look kind of too bronzy. It's more kind of your contour, like a structure that you can see. And then I'm going to apply only a tiny bit of blush. I'm just going to use Luminoso because it's quite sheer, but again not too much because it has got a little bit of a glow to it. Then I'm going to go in with just a little bit of contour powder. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, and I'm going to go in with this one at the end. I love this palette. I just always forget that I've got it. I always forget to use it, but I do really like it. And I'm just going to go in with that brightening powder there. I'm going to use this to wipe away the bake underneath my eyes because I am really dry underneath my eyes, so I can't really leave my bake on for very long anyway. And then I'm also going to use this just to sharpen up underneath as well. Okay, then for the under eyes, I'm not going to do anything too drastic. I'm going to line my waterline with the MAC, was this Costa Riche? Yeah, Costa Riche. And I'm just going to go back in with that one, just very, very close to the lash line. I don't feel like the under eyes were too smoky in the 90s. I like to blend my eyeshadow down really far to get it quite smoky underneath, but I don't feel like that was really the trend then. It was kind of just like a one line, nothing too kind of smoked out. So I'm just applying most on the outer corner and then just tapering it in to the inner corner. Then for highlighter, because this is a little bit more matte, I'm going to use the Kevyn Auqoin, the Candlelight powder. It's a really nice highlighter, but it's not kind of too in your face. It's a very natural one, so I'm just going to use just a touch of this, just so I don't kind of look too flat. And then I will just pop a little bit of this to the inner corners, I think, as well. Nice and brightening, but it's not like in your face shimmery kind of thing. Then I will do some underneath the brow bone as well. Okay, so all that's left is a classic 90s lip, so a nice dark brown liner with like a lighter inner lip colour. So for liners I've got two. I would have liked darker liners than these, but these are the only like dark browns I've got. I've got Jeffree Star's, is this Leo? The name's rubbed off, but I'm sure that this is Leo. And then I've got Los Angeles from NYX. So I'm going to start with the Jeffree Star one. And I'm going to go in with Los Angeles. And this is just to define my Cupid's bow. Okay, and then for the centre, I have got the NYX Cape Town Soft Matte Lip Cream. So I'm going to apply this, and then I might just do a little bit of concealer as well. I'm just going to use a tiny bit of concealer. I'm just using the lightest shade. Okay guys, so I know the lip isn't going to be for everybody, but I quite like it. I absolutely love this kind of makeup for autumn as well. I think it goes really nice. So that is my classic 90s glam. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know if you did down in the comments. Please give it a big thumbs up as well if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week in my next one. Bye!